Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your January 2025 forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. As always, this reading can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus, and basically this is going to help you navigate all the twists and turns in the month ahead. Let's go ahead and move into the channeled messages. As I meditated on your sign, what came through was a beautiful diamond, and the first thing that I focused on was the clarity. And Spirit really is conveying that if you can start January with a clear idea of what it is that you want to do. And it doesn't have to be a long list. It could just be one goal that you really want to focus on manifesting. This is going to help you. I think sometimes we get very, very lofty with New Year's resolutions. I would love for you to pick something that inspires you so that each and every day it doesn't feel like it's a burden. It feels like it's something that's getting you closer to a dream, right? So get clear on a goal. That was the first thing. Now, diamonds have special qualities. One of them is strength. For those of you that have just been feeling a little bit exhausted, this message comes through to remind you that you can do it. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a push, but it's totally worth the effort, especially if it is to, go after a goal or dream or to focus on your own health and well-being. And that might be part of this as well, because we really want to make sure that you have a firm foundation, especially in this first month, so that everything else can build upon it. The final thing that I want to talk about with the diamond is that most diamonds out there have a flaw in them. And sometimes these can be advantageous because they help you identify a valuable stone. Oftentimes they don't even show up to the naked eye. You would have to, really zoom in on it. And if it's set just right, it's not going to be something that really mars the beauty of the diamond. So each of us, like those diamonds, have something that we're working on, have a flaw or some sort of a quirk that we wish we didn't. But what we can do is focus on all of the things that we can control. We can lean on others if there's an area where we feel a little less confident or a little weak, and we can just work on growing or building up our energy and our potential. Perfection is overrated. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Allow one another to learn from your collective mistakes. And I think that as long as you're learning and growing, that's all that matters, right? All right, folks, let's take a look at the cards and see what other messages are coming forth. Let's take a moment to clear our mind and clear our energy. Imagine, if you will, that you're watching the rising sun. You can feel its rays of light wrap around you like a cocoon of energy, planting your feet firmly on the ground. Allow yourself now to receive insight. Let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and your highest consciousness as well, so that we can focus on what you need to see. All right, let's begin. I absolutely love that we got the star, which is definitely connected to Aquarius, so you're coming through loud and clear already. All right, let's get started here with your catalyst. This is such a beautiful card and a beautiful message. If we look at it in the upright position, we see two spirit and balance. So there's a few ways that you can look at this. The balance piece we'll focus on first. You may simply be deciding that something is more important than it used to be, and now is a time to focus on reestablishing balance in your life. Could be work-life balance. There could be just your health, because actually when you take a look at the strength card and that whole strength message from the diamond, It could just be a matter of you wanting to focus on being the strongest you possibly can right now. And I'm all for that. A new you, new year, all of that kind of jives. But the other piece, and it's right here on the card, is that sometimes we're forced to fit into a template that isn't authentic to us. And the two-spirit sort of message here is that when it comes to divine masculine and feminine, we can combine the best elements of both. We don't have to live up to, especially the previous generation, when they were forcing people to act more like this. So toxic masculinity sometimes comes forth because men aren't in touch with their feelings. And then we sometimes punish women who are assertive, and we don't need to do that anymore. We can embody both spirits and both energies. So if we look at this strength card, it takes away the struggle that existed in this strength card, and it allows for the two-spirit balance that always is there. We always have the ability to draw with all of the crayons in the carton, but sometimes, people are like, well, if you're this gender, you use this color. And so it's the same insanity there. Colors are colors, jobs are jobs. We can do what we want to do. And I think in order to find balance, you may be exploring things that your parents or grandparents didn't understand. It's a new world. It's your life. Don't be afraid to express yourself. And there may be someone in your life that needs support too, because they're feeling like an outsider. And so stay open. That's the most important thing. You don't have to always understand or agree with everything, but just staying open to exploring new things in your own life and allowing other people to do the same. Okay? Beautiful message, and a timely one at that, since the world tends to be a little less understanding now. So maybe someone in your life needs that. Okay, I'll get into a card-by-card breakdown, but I want to highlight two cards in particular. We have the Six of Swords at the center, which is movement, and then we have the Star, which is you, Aquarius, right here in the outcome. So everything that you're going through this month is allowing you to get into an elevated and optimal state. There's a little bit of healing to deal with here, but I'm going to help you get through it. Let's start with that center card, the Six of Swords. So right on it, it says transition. This could be a month where you're moving into something brand new. And it feels to me like it's moving up or moving on. Now, there also may be some travel that you're exploring or thinking about doing. All of this is perfectly timed. Six of Swords is also one of the death and transformation cards in tarot. So I like to look at death as a two-way door. One thing exits, something else enters. You're already moving towards that new thing. And with this, it's also important. This is why I said clarity is key to success. You can't steer the ship if you don't know where you're going. It can be a fun trip, but you don't know where you're headed, and it's going to take longer to navigate. So take some time right now whenever you're watching this, whether it's just before January or in the middle or even at the end. But I'd like you to just take a moment or two and sketch out or write out your goal. One goal that you really want to accomplish with the time that's left in this month. And that's going to help you save time down the road, because you'll now be looking for signs and symbols. You could even be opening up or speaking into existence something, and then the universe will help you find the best or most optimal route, okay? I absolutely love that right on top of the Six of Swords, we have the Four of Swords. If you take a look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, you'll see this is another card of death, transformation, and movement. It's just a little bit more subtle. So if you look at the traditional card, it comes through rest or sleep. And on this card, that's actually what's called out. When you give yourself time to basically recharge, things that were previously either difficult to see or impossible to see because you were going so quickly suddenly become quite clear. And that's why we have this moth or butterfly at the top. You're starting to shift your perspective. And these two together are really powerful. This is saying, don't rush the journey. Six of Swords is a journey. It's a trip. It's movement. Slow down, be more deliberate, more clear, and enjoy this path. Again, sometimes when we get to that pinnacle, it's anticlimactic. When we get to the goal, it's every step of the road that really makes you the strong, amazing, multifaceted person that you are, going back into that diamond for meditation. Quality and quantity of sleep are both important, and finding places to just slow down a little bit in your life and be present, to meditate, to enjoy. That's the main takeaway on this, okay? Some of you could also be grieving or dealing with the loss or transition of someone that you love into spirit. Be gentle with yourself. Any major change in your life, for that matter, do take it one step at a time, and don't expect to immediately, be at peace with it overnight. It takes time for the dust to settle. You've already embarked on a new sort of trajectory. And with Pluto being in Aquarius, this makes sense because your sign in particular is feeling this new cycle that's entering in. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is reversed. So for some of you, there could be this epiphany that you're ready for something different. And it could actually legitimately be in what you're doing for a living. So you might decide to go back to school, to take some time off, take a sabbatical, to change your career and go from one industry into another. Whatever it is, take a moment and just sit with it. It's good when we have this sort of like light bulb moment that there might be something more than we originally thought we could be doing. You're always allowed to do that. It's also encouraging you to get a stronger handle on your budget and also the way you're managing time, energy, and money as well, all the resources in your life. Make sure that whatever you're doing, it's creating something that brings you joy in your life, this tapestry or this loom that we see here. It's because all the days of our lives create these beautiful patterns. And, if we just rush through it again, I feel like sometimes we miss that. So slowing down, changing course, resetting the dialogue and also the expectation of what's next, all of this is coming through. It's your birthday month, many of you. So this is why it's such an impactful period. Take it one step at a time and enjoy. So we were talking a little bit about maybe changing course. And one of the ways that you could do that is learning. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. We have skills acquisition coming through here, knowledge acquisition. The other thing here, though, is it might even just be the application of a pre-existing skill or talent. And now you're finally saying, I want to focus on this. Maybe you've always been great at singing or writing or some other sort of skill or craft, and now you're going to put it to practice. You don't have to do this alone. Notice how on the cave wall there we have a hand there. This is like a helping hand, but sometimes we need to go seek out like an advisor, a mentor, someone who's been there or done that. Suffice it to say, Eight of Pentacles is one of the almost guaranteed cards where if you put the time and energy into it, you're going to see a return. So please take some time for developing your skills, your ambitions, your dreams, because you will see a return on that this month. It's also a great time for reading, researching, and of course going to school if that's what you're looking for. I love what I see here in the crowning position. This is representing what your mind and your body is open to right now, and it's love, creativity, and intuition. It's been a little bit of a push though. This particular illustration is showing salmon and it's going upstream to spawn. But what we can take from this struggle or this push is that it's fruitful and it's worth it. So take care of yourself. Take a moment here to drink it all in and say, I've worked hard, I'm not giving up, it's worth it. Also, there could be new love or opportunity that's presenting itself right now, and it's because of the work that you've done on yourself. For many of you, it's because of the changes that you're making, the self-care that you're showing yourself, maybe the change in career or life trajectory, and also whatever it is that you might be learning right now. So love could be coming through in this moment in time, and it's not a surprise here because, again, your outcome card is the Star. You're already starting to emanate that energy that makes you attractive, likable, and compelling. So trust your intuition and lean into creativity this month. Without a doubt, that's part of the Queen of Cups. Now, there's a potential block here as we're looking at the near future. It comes in the form of the Three of Swords. So this particular deck is interesting because sometimes they highlight one of the elements of the Three of Swords. So yes, jealousy can be one of those elements. Sometimes we see others in our lives that may not be struggling the same way that you might be, or pushing the same way that you might be. Now, you have no kind of idea what's going on beneath the surface with that person, or even karmically what they've gone through to get to this point. So one thing that I would say is release the comparisons. They typically just, it's not something that's going to help you elevate to that star energy that we see here in the final card. So what you really want to put your energy into is taking something like jealousy or frustration and basically molding it into something more usable and more fruitful. So if someone in your life creates a feeling of jealousy, get inspired, get curious. Think to yourself, that's amazing that they did that. What can I do in my own life so that I also can accomplish something similar? And then you go back into the skill building card of the Eight of Pentacles and you work on yourself. If you are frustrated, focus on sometimes even a path where there may be less pushback, more receptivity. The path of least resistance is sometimes an okay path because Spirit's trying to point you in a direction that doesn't require you to constantly give and give and give to the point of exhaustion. So sometimes this is just the straw that necessarily has to come through to break your back in order for you to say, enough, I've had enough. Three of Swords is better than 10 of Swords. You can stop at the Three of Swords and rest and move on. You actually have this. You could just go in this direction instead. So allow this to be a clarifying agent, going back into the channel message. Now it's been pretty much a decade when this video comes out in January. I quit my job 10 years ago because I had enough. And we have to get to a point where like enough is enough. And there were several events that led to my realization, but one of them was like a Three of Swords moment where I just thought it isn't worth it. So sometimes we need to feel that sting or that discomfort in order to get back on track. So maybe you're exactly where you need to be. Maybe the thing that's irritating you right now is doing it so that you can wake up. It's a new year. It's the first month of the new year when this is coming out. So this is a chance for you to make some changes. And I would take it in that sort of general energy. Do be mindful of your general health and well-being. When this comes through, stress management is key. If there's any history of, issues with the heart or blood pressure or blood sugar, making sure that you are really focusing on health and well-being is priority number one. You're coming through in a pretty strong energy here. We have the King of Cups. You can already see there's a divine partnership that wants to take place, but before that can happen, you have to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself. The King of Cups in reverse is saying, I've done enough. I've filled up everybody else's cup, and now I feel a little empty. So take some time to do things that create joy in your life. If you feel like you need something and nobody's listening, raise your hand and say, hey, I really need some assistance here. I've helped you with this, and you've been, over here and doing that. I need some time now. I need some assistance. Don't be afraid to ask for help. This is also an encouragement to let go of some stuff in your life. So when a cup is upside down, sometimes we need to empty it out. Something isn't working. So these two cards are connected. Three of Swords, King of Cups. Processing an emotion and getting to the bottom of it is really, really important. And what we see here then is Seven of Wands. You're going to be able to rebound pretty quickly, but the important thing is making sure that the heart is healed, it is open, and it is ready for business, because there's a lot of good stuff in the outcome here that I want to prepare you for, okay? If you need help, ask. If you need to talk to someone, please do that. In the environment, we have the Seven of Wands. This card comes on the heels of success, Six of Wands. The interesting thing on this one is you get a little bit of a clue here what the next part of the journey is going to entail, and it's clearance. So that means clearing out things that no longer help you get to the next sort of like part of the journey. So Six of Swords, you can't take everything with you. Like if for any of you that have traveled, whether it is plane, trains, or automobiles, it doesn't matter. You have to pick and choose. You can usually only have one or two pieces of luggage. That means that there may be some things that just don't make the cut for the next journey. Be mindful and be discerning. I'm going to pull the traditional card in a second, but I really do like what we see here, which is setting the stage, clearing the mental cobwebs, and clearing anything that's kind of weighing you down and holding you back. As promised, here's the traditional Seven of Wands. You can see there's a couple of additional messages that come through when you look at this. One of them is you can push back. So remember, this is in your environment. So someone could be pushing, being pushy and saying, I need this right now. And you can say, I just heard about this, and there's not enough hours in the day to do this. We're going to need some help. You can push back in a way that's still saying, I'll help you, but I can't do this all alone. So you can be accommodating, firm, and still have boundaries. It's all possible. Remember this month that you're remembering that you can be both sensitive and assertive when necessary. Let's move on to hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have one of the kindest, nicest, easiest Nine of Swords that I've seen here. There's a person that's picking up the pieces. The traditional one shows someone that's lacking sleep and a little bit stressed out. This person is kind of retracing their steps and saying, how did I end up here? And that dedication to healing is really going to pay off in the long run. They're also listening to the sort of telltale warning signs that might pop up in their general health. So insomnia is one of them. We don't want to burn the candle at both ends and get to the Ten of Swords. So I don't even think I need to go too much into depth on that because I already see that some of you have changed. You've changed course. Don't second guess yourself. This is also just a fear card. It's a fear that things are going to be more complicated, just tougher than they already are or have been. And let's release that. It's a fear that isn't going to help you because the outcome card doesn't show that. The outcome is something quite different, actually. So the pole star, aka the star, is about you setting course, being your own North Star and saying, this is who I am, this is what I want, and this is my time. Ultimately, this is a very, very positive card, particularly for Aquarius because it's connected to you. As long as you do what feels aligned to your goals, to your interests, to your health and well-being, you're fine. And we have the Wheel of Fortune in the deep past, so this is your moment to shine. This time around, resources, time, energy, and opportunities are starting to open up. But notice how this isn't a Pentacles rich spread. We do have like 2 money cards here, but most of it is emotions and creating some boundaries here. So really focus on what creates happiness and balance in your life. Realize that you don't have to make everybody happy in your life and that you don't have to neatly fit into one sort of category. And by celebrating that which makes you unique or singular, you're going to be successful. Remember I said that the flaw in the diamond can sometimes be very, very good because it shows that you're authentic. That's why we like listening to a live performance or watching someone perform on a stage. The little imperfections make it real. So be real, be yourself. Forget about perfection. It's overrated. By the way, the diamond that I'm seeing is also, it's a value, sort of valuable symbol. It could mean that someone is kind of reaching across the line and saying, we're interested in you. You're perfect for this. Even if you don't feel perfect, they see maybe some things that you don't, okay? We're gonna expand this now to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. So in the area of health, we have a really interesting card here. Fly the wings of worthiness. I love it. So the ability for people to see that diamond quality, it often comes just because you feel like, I've got this, I'm ready. If not now, then when? But I do feel that there could be someone that sees it first in you. So don't doubt positive movement in your life. Again, a double negative, but you know what I'm saying. In other words, if it's good, maybe it's exactly what you deserve. You're ready for this right now. The only thing that can get in the way is insecurity, self-doubt, or fear. And there's no time for that anymore. That's kind of the message. Spirit's being pretty firm here. This is your moment to shine. So let's let go of some of that stuff and really feel the worthiness. It's in the deep past. You've done the work. But for some reason, it's been difficult to either accept it, maybe in the past to achieve it, but not so much in the future. Things are starting to look good here, okay? All right, now let's focus on just the general spread here for health and well-being. As I mentioned with 3 of Swords, it can just be a call to action to have better heart health. So cardiovascular activity, good diet and exercise, working with your doctor to look at things like blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. All of that is part of this. Sleep quality and quantity, because we have the 2 cards associated with sleep. This is insomnia and this is a lack of sleep. These come through often because of this, which is stress. So stress management is necessary. And I mentioned, because we had the strength card, some of you might be focusing, here it is over here, a little bit more on health and well-being. Absolutely, now's the time to do that. Make sure that you don't overdo it with the 7 of Wands, because it can lead to pulling a muscle or spraining something. Easy does it. Otherwise, most of these cards are pretty good. The only other thing that I'm picking up on is a wake-up call. Because these are both transitional cards, like I said, there might have been something that happened where your doctor said, you got through this, but it won't happen next time. So listen, heed the warning, and create the necessary balance in your life, okay? Overall, pretty manageable. Emotional and mental health are the big keystones that need your attention this month, so take care, all right? Let's go ahead and move on to wealth. We're gonna try some new things in wealth, love, and destiny, starting with wealth, which is your resources, life purpose, and career. Let me look at the card first, and then we'll talk about the changes. Whoa, I don't know why I didn't see that, but that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, clarity. The card is reversed. So this is the area in which you could most benefit from clarifying your goals, of course, because it's wealth. And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking back to my old corporate job. I used to give people a piece of advice on goal creation, so take it if you'd like to. Get an index card, a little 3x5 card, and write down in 1 sentence or less, like it can just be a few words, what it is you're trying to accomplish. Keep it as simple and as succinct as possible, and put that like by your mirror or on your computer. And each and every day, make sure that you're taking a step towards that goal. Just pick one achievable goal. It can be a little bit of a stretch, but it should be something that you know that you can achieve. And that's it. Focus on that. Be clear, be succinct, and follow through. That's going to help you be successful this month, okay? But if somebody asks you, like, what do you want to do? And you don't have an answer yet, it's time to meditate on that and get clear. Because if you don't know, or if it's too sort of out there, it's going to be difficult for opportunities to align with you, okay? Now we're going to go to the new portion. So in wealth, what I normally look at is, it's almost like 5 different areas, but in 3 groupings. So I'm just going to pull a card a piece as we do this, and then we're going to focus on that message. So here we go. 1 card for each of these sections. So I'm going to pull one for those who have a traditional job and work for somebody. Then we're going to look at those who are self-employed. Then we're going to look at job seekers, and then students, and then retirees. Let's begin with those of you that are employed by someone else. We have the Hierophant coming through, which is a card of structure, organization, sometimes to the point that it feels frustrating. It's like, why won't you listen to a new way of doing something? So I'm just normalizing the fact that some of you may be ready for a little bit more freedom, creative freedom in particular, with all the Cups cards that came through. And based on what I'm seeing here, it may be necessary to look beyond where you're at, especially since we see someone finding a new path. That being said, it is the outcome card, so one thing that you could do is fight or advocate for a role or an opportunity and be willing to go to bat. And that's what we see here with the 7 of Wands. So you definitely can do it, but there is structure. Sometimes there's even people that are already sort of picked out. It's almost like, yeah, an old boys club is what comes through when I'm looking at this. And one of the challenges this month is helping people see beyond those biases, whether it's ageism, sexism, or anything of that nature. You're going to show them I'm the right person. And by the way, depending on where you're at, some of these things aren't even sanctioned or, correct when it comes to the handbook. So there may be something there too. Ultimately, though, we can look at this in a positive structure, which is now is a time to get organized. Your organization and your ability to sort of like manage your resources is the key to success. For those of you that own your own company or consider yourself an entrepreneur, we have an encouragement here to get focused, to focus on what matters, and to basically pick and choose your battles. So the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card would be the Chariot, and they chose to make this basically an archer here. And the archer has to have their bow and arrow perfectly aligned in the crosshairs and focus on, like I said, one thing. There could be something that's distracting you. And really what I heard from Spirit was choose your battles and choose your time wisely. So sometimes people just want you to, waste your arrows. Don't do that. Really focus your intention. And when I'm looking at everything on the table, I think there is an opportunity this month for some of you just to move away from things that aren't bringing you value or joy, or just feel like they're way too much of an investment of your time and energy, okay? So your focus is the most important thing. And even though you don't like to be told what to do, if you're getting advice and it's wise, just take a moment, sit with it, and maybe apply what resonates later, okay? Moving on to those of you that are seeking work. We have a bouncing back energy here in this 10 of Swords, and we have instruction. This is perfectly aligned with the 8 of Pentacles. Some of you got burned out, and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. That's good. Not repeating old cycles and old habits is exactly what this month is about. And this is basically reinvention. So I love that this particular deck doesn't see all of the Swords cards as negative. Sometimes we have to go through something. I mentioned, though, that you can avoid the 10 of Swords simply by listening to this 3 of Swords moment, which is it doesn't feel right. Rejection is protection. So don't go for a job that you don't like. Don't fight for somebody that isn't willing to see your value or worth. Focus instead on things that bring joy, doors that are opening up, and don't be so hard on yourself. That's the other thing here. But I think some of you would really benefit in this moment from speaking to a mentor or an advisor or someone that's been through it. And they may be able to point you in the right direction. There's a lot of directional messages here. So I feel like if you've been going in one space and it's just not working, that's okay. That wasn't the door to open. There's another one waiting. And the fact that we have the pole star here tells me that you can find something, but let the rejection on the side and behind you kind of just go. Whatever's already happened, it's meant to have happened exactly like that. Focus instead on things that are creating that sense of joy and intrigue and, again, are receptive to the energy that you're providing. Moving on to students. We have Temperance coming through. So this card is focusing on, surprise, surprise, balance, and that's perfectly aligned with the 2 Spirit message here. Some of you are trying to have like a double major. This comes a lot when I'm reading for, I think because so many people that watch this channel have like multiple interests and things that they're trying to balance. I see that. There may also simply be too much on your plate. You could be a non-traditional student, meaning that you're working a 9-to-5 job and going to school, or you're going back to school at a later part in your life and you can't kind of like afford to do it all full time. So just take your time and enjoy the journey. And it will all work out as long as you don't tip the scale too much, overwork, or push yourself too hard, okay? And finally, for those of you that are retired, we have the beautiful Otter coming through here on the Page of Cups saying have some fun. This is a time to make new friends, to focus a little bit more on love, relationships, and just having some activities in your life that help you have fun. All right, beautiful message there. Let's go ahead now and move on to the next category here, which is love and relationships. You got 2 cards that came through on this. Both of them were reversed. Let's just look at it one at a time. The first one here is Light Immersion, Full System Upgrade, and Power Recall under the Hathor Light Codes. I'm really focusing on the Power Recall because that connects to the Strength card. And I feel like it doesn't have to be so much work is what I'm getting. There should be a sort of equal amount of energy that both party is putting forward. If there isn't, that's a wake-up call, and that's what you want to focus on. The next one here is Memories of Atlantis, Spiritual Acceleration, Progress, and Technology. So there could also be a really deep connection. The Star card is connected to that. So someone from a past life, there's a little bit of karma left, but it feels like with star energy, it's usually good karma. But the thing here is being open. I'm looking at the, if I can keep this in my, my hands here, I'm looking at the doorway here. So it's really about being open. And this month, when you are aligned to your path, that's when everything starts to open up for you as well. So, excuse me, the more authentic you are, the more aligned you are, you're going to start to pull in like-minded energies as well. So that's my advice, is stick to what feels right. The people will find you, the opportunities will find you. But when you're pushing in a direction that isn't aligned, that's when it starts to get tricky. All right, just like the previous one, we're going to pull an individual card for each of the subcategories, for those in a relationship, those looking for love, and those that are single and happy. For those of you that are currently in a relationship, it's about rekindling the spark here. We have the Three of Cups, and this is about making sure that you're taking time to just have some fun. And typically, the longer you're in a relationship, the more you kind of fall into habits, right? Running errands, doing this, doing that. This is about making sure that you're slowing down and just doing things because you want to spend time with that person. And if you have a family, a lot of times this requires making, a date night, getting a babysitter, etc. It's worth the energy. It's worth the effort. Be mindful of third parties. This could be a friend or a family member that is trying to insert themselves in the mix, whether they think that they know better than you, or they are, trying to control or influence whatever your plans are. This is when you also want to have strong boundaries there. There may also be cause for celebration. This could be a victorious or joyful moment where, whether it's graduation or retirement or something really cool, take some time to enjoy. Now, this can also be temptation, or just a question, are we in it for the long haul? So if you've been dating and aren't married, this is really like the question mark. Is this going to go deeper? Is this going to go to the next level? So maybe having that kind of conversation is important, and avoiding temptation, or avoiding, like I said, people that are just trying to get into your business that don't need to be in your business. All right, moving on to those that are seeking love, we have the Page of Wands coming through. This is good. This is showing that this is a great time to meet like-minded energy and like-minded individuals. With the pole star that came forth, you should feel it, like that spark should be there from the beginning. Don't fake it if you don't feel it, because you deserve someone who is emanating the same light and joy that you are, and also bringing the same thing to the equation. There could be a fire sign coming forth, and the main thing here is to listen. Pages both speak and listen, and this page is tuning in. For those that are single and happy here, we have the Eight of Swords coming through, and this is saying don't limit yourself. Just because something isn't currently in your periphery doesn't mean that it can't happen. Just because you've never done it before doesn't mean that you can't. It's asking you to think beyond limits, limiting thoughts and ideas. Now, just generally speaking, a couple of notes before we move on. I think that taking care of yourself and not getting overly fatigued can help. We don't want to get into an argumentative state, and that happens sometimes when we are tired. Not letting fear get in the way of common sense. This is going to help everybody. These are just general trends here. Not being pushy or getting defensive unnecessarily. And again, trying to get into that fluid energy of fun, give and take. These are the things that are going to bring you success and going to make things a little bit easier. Moving on to your Destiny card. We got a reversal here, but we have some beautiful energy coming forth. It says love, allure, and purity. So with the card in reverse, it's self-love, loving and accepting yourself. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's the most important thing. Try though we may to get love and acceptance and joy from others, we really have to find that from within. Don't second guess or sell yourself short when it comes to being able to be a magnet this month. All stars are capable of pulling things into their orbit. You're no exception this month. And the purity piece. So this is just a chance to detox. This is how I'm going to read this. To clear up the environment, to clear up your body a little bit, to clear your mind. Clarity is really what we're looking at here. And this is bringing us there one more time. All right. The swan also is just, to me, indicative of grace and dignity. Now let's take a look at one last question. This can be anything that you still need a little bit of clarity on. Let's see what Spirit has to say. So you received the Five of Wands. We see someone here with their bow and arrow pointing in a new direction. I'm going to pull a traditional deck here, or one that's based on Rider-Waite-Smith, just to kind of answer the question here. So if it was a yes or no, This is saying yes, comma, but it's more work than you think. Also, just as a general read to whatever it is that you're looking at, there is room for more collaboration, more cooperation, and it feels to me like there's something that's just a better match. I'm just seeing wheels spinning when I'm looking at this. And again, if we look at the one element that I can show here, which is basically the bow and arrow, this doesn't feel aligned with this, which is your overarching purpose. So I would say do a little research, look around. There's a better match out there. There's something a little bit better. And if you have to kind of commit to something, or if you already said yes, especially if it's work related, it's about getting everybody to work together, because they're not necessarily doing that here. There's too many people spinning their wheels, too many people working in different directions. And a lot of times this comes because there's a lack of vision or a lack of clarity when it comes to instructions or goals. That is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe. It's free. It helps the channel grow. And leave a comment. Let me know how this resonated and what you're focusing on this month, what your point of clarity is, if you will. You can also give me a follow on social media so you never miss out on a future reading. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh on all the major platforms. It's nicholasashbaugh.com on Blue Sky. Speaking of that, that's also my website, so you can go to nicholasashbaugh.com for any of the links and news and information that you might be seeking. By the way, if you want to give back with a super sticker, super chat, or membership, you can do that right here. That helps me produce more videos just like this, so thank you in advance. Just a quick reminder, I don't offer private readings, nor do I use direct messages, so be mindful of any imposters out there. I always want everybody to be safe. Finally, I just want to say thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I wouldn't be here without your love and support. And I thought I would sign off today with Apollo here in the background. He's starting to feel better. I'm going to give him a little belly scratch and then sign off for today. Take care.